I want to thank everybody for joining us in this event tonight. Um, I know through most of my life, I've wondered about, where I come from. I knew Grover, my dad, and my mom, and they introduced us to people they knew, but we didn't spend a lot of time talking about our ancestors.
Yeah.
Um, but after my father retired, he took the time to put together a family tree. And that tree consisted of his family and Sarah, his wife's family. And he did a good job in, I think, introducing to us the extent of where our DNA goes back. But he could only go back so far. But he shared that information with his family, all of his children. And I think we all kept that. And my mother, she was very interested in recording our family history. She had many, many volumes of photographs of all of her children and all of her relatives. And so we had a sense there are a lot of people out there, but we just never had a chance to know them. But I think the interest that Sarah and Grover had in their family and sharing what they knew is the basis for what gets us here tonight. Now, we're all related in some fashion and we're all over the country. But I think that at some point, this information could be valuable to all of us. I don't know when, but it could be. And I think that's it's a challenge for us to start to document who we are and what our experiences have been. I know during my lifetime that I've seen a lot of changes. I was born in 1952, and the world was a different place back in those days in the 60s and 70s. And through the course of my travels through work and recreation, I've run into McKenzies all over the country, but I didn't know who they were or who they might be related to. But I knew there had to be something there. I would always ask the McKenzies that I ran into, was your family from St. Matthews? And a lot of times they said no. Um, but but I think there's something there. But tonight should be very interesting. I think this could be the beginning of something that could be a good foundation, not just for our generation, but the younger generations that have also joined in here tonight.
Sorry.
There will always be challenges, but I think the more we know, the better off we will be. So Renee has taken on the challenge to really get into this ancestry stuff, and she's done a tremendous job that she's going to share with us tonight. And our challenge is to listen to this and figure what do we do? Is it something we can do as individuals or as a group? But this is something that we all have in common in one way or the other. So I think you just kind of sit back and let's listen to what Renee has uncovered for us. And if you have any questions, hopefully Renee can address them. Thank you.
Yes. Wow.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. No, Cousin Dee Dee did ask something about the family reunion that's coming up. And that's a United Family Reunion. So it's multiple Mackenzies, and also other generations that came from the Lang Syne plantation in Fort Mont, South Carolina, and then
Wow.
also the Mackenzie plantation in St. Matthew, South Carolina. So I mean, it's going to be a whole bunch of cousins. Now, this is something they do every 3 years, and I just tagged on to a cousin named J. Levy Whitmore or Whitman, and he's like he's the organizer of this event, and so that's in July. I did share that information with some folks. If others would like it, I'd be happy to share the information with you. It looks like it's going to be quite a production, so I hope to be there. And but I can tell you, it's been fun getting to know our family. I've really been enjoying this a lot. And so I'm just going to go to ancestry.com and then you can take a look at the tree that I've been working on to pull together. Um, 1 second. Okay, we're good?
Don't see the tree.
You don't see the tree?
No.
Okay. Let's try it again. How's that?
It's good.
You said yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is our family tree.
Can
And
you enlarge, Renee? Can it be enlarged?
can it be louder?
No, enlarged.
Enlarged. Okay,
Oh, okay. Thank you.
okay. Um, so this is where I am. And but then of course I'll show that there are other people here as well. Uh-oh. So there's my sisters and brothers. And then our parents, Grover McKenzie Jr., and then our mother, Sarah Elizabeth Gibbs McKenzie. So dad's family, we can look at information about him, and we can see he was born in November 22nd, 1927 in St. Matthews, Calhoun County, South Carolina, and he died November 13th, 23 in Lawnside, New Jersey. And I'll just show you this only because this is information that I'm just learning to explore. But I did send my DNA in to see if there were any matches, if I could find any cousins or anything like that. But that was not a good example of it. So there are a whole bunch of, I found a bunch of like fourth and a couple third cousins, especially on the McKenzie side. And so I'm looking forward to exploring that to see who else, what other information I can find. Okay, so now we want to get some information on dad, and so this is what we have. So this is dad's timeline, and all this information, most of the information you see here comes from some type of census record. Could be the birth certificate, a death certificate, marriage license, and especially the United States Census. And of course, the closer you are to 2025, the easier census records is to find and to get the information on. But you see that look a little bit different when we get back to the 1800s. But so this is give you an idea. So this is what we know about Dad. That he was born in 1927. His sister Sadie Mae was born in 1930. He lived with his grandfather in Orangeburg, South Carolina in 1930. His mother was also living there at the time. And I'll just show you what that looks like. So here we are, it's Grover McKinney. And the birth year, you just have to look at other resources to find out if that's going to be the relative that they're talking about. And so we know that he was a male, he was Negro, and that he was 2 in 1930. And he was related to he was a grandson to the head of the household. And so these are the names of his grandparents, Josh Clay and Ada Clay. And that's Willie McKenzie, and that's his mother, Willa Mae. And James McKenzie, his brother, Willistine, Grover McKenzie, and then Sadie. So this was before Aunt Edie was born, obviously. But that just gives you a sense as to what that looks like. And this will show you what the census record itself looked like. Okay, so we see he was in dwelling 410, and that was his grandfather. And we see everybody's listed, remember the households. Their sex, their race, their age, marital status. Sometimes they ask how many years they've been married, just some basic information on people. So here we are in 1940. He was still single, but looked like he was living with his parents. He was the son of whoever the head of the household was. And he was living with his parents. And he was still single, but he looked like he was living with his parents. He was the son of whoever the head of the household was. And he was living with his parents. And he was still single, but he looked like he was living with his parents. He was the son of whoever the head of the household was. 1945, he was still in St. Matthews. His mother died in 1948, Willa Mamie Green. He married Sarah McKenzie. He married Sarah Elizabeth Gibbs in 1951 in Wilmington, Newcastle, Delaware. The first child was born in 52, second child in 53, so on. His father died in 55. And then you see, I was born, then his brother died, Grover III was born, Darrell was born, Wayne was born. And if you don't know, Wayne was our brother who died. I think he lived for 4 months or so, and he died. They said it was crib death. And then Andre was the last child. So then his sister died in 1997. His son died in 2006. His wife died in 2010. His other sister died in 2015. And then dad died in 2023. And he was buried in New Bern, North Carolina. He was in a service. And when he got his orders for the service, he was working at St. Matthew's cocoa bottling company. I just wanted to show you that so you can get a sense as to what this looks like. So this is his draft card. And then you just see all the information here about who he was. This is the actual card. And the one nice thing about the draft cards is that you can see people's signature. Now, with Dad, I mean, we're sort of used to his signature, maybe not his signature when he was 18. So we can get a sense as to how he used to write. But this is really exciting, especially with people who we've never had the pleasure of meeting, the opportunity to meet. And so you see their signature. For me, that person becomes real in a different sense. And that's the story of Dad. I'll just look at these other categories here, just so you have the sense as what other information can be collected. So there's a gallery, and then these are some of the photos that Mom had on her computer. I mean, in her files, and then some photos that I've had as well. But these are largely of Dad. Of course, this is a time when he worked at Scott Paper Company. Now, I believe that's him and Uncle Steen. Obviously, I have a lot more pictures about Dad that I didn't put up here. And then you can just do his story as a narrative. And that's what this represents. So like if you wanted to actually record it and share his story, that information would be there. All right. So now if we go like Dad's father, and we know that his father was also Grover, but he was Grover Lee McKenzie. You know, that Grover, that name appears frequently in our family. I believe that Uncle Steen's name was Grover at one point, I believe, or James. No, I think it was Uncle Steen's name was Grover. So there was a little mix up about that. But so this is who our Dad's father was. So I won't have a lot of information on him, right? But we do know he was born in February 22nd in 1901 in Calhoun County, South Carolina. And then he had quite a few brothers and sisters, and we'll see some repeating names. Like Sadie is a name that appears frequently in the family. So he has siblings named Thomas, David, Cornelius, Carrie, Sadie, and Ladson, all fairly close together in age. And then Weston Sally Green, she passed away, that's his mother. And then the birth of his sister, Sadie Mae Butler, in 23. Oh, so this is repeat information. That's just not straightened out yet. And then he died, Grover Lee McKenzie died on February the 14th. And so you can also do, that's not a good one. But I can also go to articles in the newspaper and I can get additional information. Let me see his sisters and brothers, his siblings over on that side of the page. So Willa Mamie Green McKenzie, that was Dad's mother. And I'm gonna tell you the thing I remember most about Dad's mother that Dad shared with me is about her emphasis she really had on education, and she was really insistent that her children would all graduate from high school, and they all did. So Willa Mamie Green McKenzie, she was born in 1900, and she was living in Orangeburg, South Carolina at the time. And we can see that she was living with either her mother or father when she was born. Leola Green Larimore, that's her sister. And Leola Green's children are people who we're in contact with as well. And that's Janice. I can't remember Janice's last name. Janice Larimore. Yeah, she still lives down in St. Matthews area as well.
I think she's in Columbia.
Columbia, okay. So we see the birth of Willa Mae, her children here. And there must have been a land sale in 1946. But I don't know if I don't think I've gotten any additional information on that. Let me see. See, it looks like Lucille Mitchell sells land to Willa Mae McKenzie for $125 in Calhoun County. And that information is from this news article.
Renee, Dad told me that Dad, Steen, and James, when they got out of the service, they got together and had a house built for their mother.
Right. But she never really got to live in it. I think she spent like a few days or weeks in it or something like that, some short period of time, and then she died. Anyway, so her mother was born and was buried in St. Matthews, Calhoun County. And so I'm really looking forward to getting down to Calhoun County. So Gwen and Stephanie, I'm going to look you up when I come because I need to get down and do some additional research about our family. And I do that the family church. What was the name of
Mount
family
Carmel.
church down there?
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel. Okay.
I seen her gravesite.
Oh, you have seen her gravesite?
Yes, it was very blurred, but I seen Willa Mae Green on it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we must have some other relatives down there, all right, in Mount Carmel especially, because that was a family church for a long time.
Yeah, our grandmother's down there.
Yeah, her sister, our grandmother was there. She's there.
Whose grandmother?
Gwen and Stephanie.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's some of our aunts and everything. Some of our aunts are there too. And uncle. The Hardens, dad's down there. I know Robert knew about the Hardens. Yeah,
Huh?
The Hardens?
yeah,
Yes.
their dad is down in Mount Carmel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now grandmother, right?
Unfortunately, the church had a fire and many years ago, and they lost most of their historical records. So you can't go down there and kind of look at the archives, which is unfortunate, but we know that happened a lot.
Yeah.
But we do know that that's the family church.
Renee, oh,
Yes.
how do you look over this? I was gonna ask you, do you have anything on, Willa Green, sisters and brothers, sisters, I think it's just sisters,
Who's sisters and brothers?
our grandmother's sisters,
Oh, yeah, sure.
because I think that would be more in line with Stephanie and Gwen's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Zula.
Yeah.
How to do
Name
it.
is Zula.
Zula Agnes. Some people leave out Zula and they call it Agnes. Agnes Green, Zula Agnes Green.
Oh, I definitely saw that name, but it's not here. Let me see. It's not on this page.
Yeah.
Let me see when she. So one of her sisters or brothers. Okay, here she is. Oh, you see on this over here, Zula Green. And there's Are they the same person?
Well, her,
Yeah, Zula and Agnes, they the same person. They are,
Okay.
right?
yeah,
Our grandmother's name was Zula Agnes.
Green,
Green, yeah.
Harden. She married to Harden.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I have. I don't have a lot. Yeah, I can say her spouse was Joe Harden.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And she died in June 15th, 1949.
That's right.
Renee, can you open up that siblings tab again?
Oh,
Thank you.
Anything else I need to? Anything else anybody curious about? So let's just stay with Willa Mae, Dad's mother, and this is Dad's mother's mother. Her name was Ada Green.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
It's something
something.
that you said
Yeah.
about grandma, Grover's mother and my mom's mother, because Sadie said the same thing to me about how she stressed education.
Mm-hmm.
She was a stickler about like proper enunciation and how you pronounce your words and announce your words and all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Ada Green, which is now great grandmother, we see she was born in 1878 in South Carolina, and I had 4 sources for that told me that that was true. And then she was still there. She married Nathaniel Green in 1895, and then these are her daughters, Zula, Agnes, and Willa Mamie Green McKenzie. And then Leola Green was the
Yeah.
youngest.
That's right. That's our family.
That's your family.
That's
Yeah.
right. We didn't know about Ada Green, but we have a aunt named Ada. One of our mother's sisters was Ada.
Okay.
She was Ada Kit. She married a Kit. And she was a Harden Kit. One of Zula
I'm
Agnes.
sorry, did you say Kit
Yeah,
Kit.
Rick.
Red
in
Kit.
South Carolina?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I think I met some of our family. Met a Celia and a Robert Kit when I was down in South Carolina about 10 years ago.
How long ago was it?
About 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So this is an example of a death certificate. This is a death certificate for Agnes Harden. So that's Agnes Green, right?
Agnes.
So
I want to do
yeah,
it.
that's your great grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she was working as a domestic. She was born in Calhoun County. Her father was Nathan Green. Her maiden name was Ada Green. Her mother's maiden name was Ada Green. Oh, that must be a daughter. That might be your mother. Was your mother last name Harden?
Yeah, but her first name is Mary.
Mary, okay. Well, I don't think I haven't found her yet, have I?
I don't know. She was Zula. Zula's daughter. Zula had 7 children. She had 6 daughters and 1 son.
I probably didn't dig that deep. Let me see.
But that's
Yeah, I didn't dig that deep. So this would have been Zula Green. That's your mother.
right.
Okay. And I didn't list any of her children.
And she had 7.
Okay.
Her name was Ada.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, she was named after her grandmother. Yes, that's right.
On Ada. It's named after her grandmother.
That's right. She was like the firstborn in that family. She's the oldest.
Okay.
Robert knows Red Kid. Y'all know Red Kid? I think he came to your dad's funeral.
Yeah.
So,
Of course.
Uh-huh.
so it mentioned here are Ada Green's parents, Josh Clay and Belle Young.
Right.
And I'm not gonna have much information on them,
Okay.
except they did have a daughter. Belle Young had a daughter named Vetta Young, and then she had Ada Green.
Okay. Yeah, we have Youngs down here that related to.
And then there's Josh Clay, that was Belle's husband.
Well, we had an uncle named Jim Clay. That's his name. He lives in White Plains, New York. That's on that side too.
What's the name?
His name is I think it must be Jim Clay. He lived in upstate New York, White Plains. I don't know exactly. I don't know New York geography, but I know he lived in White Plains.
Oh, White Plains, New York. Okay.
His,
So Willard Green's father was Nathaniel Green. And then we see that Nathaniel Green's father was James Green and his mother was Sarah Green.
Okay.
And once again, at this age, I mean, the date, I don't have much information. I do see here that these are her children.
Okay.
She had a daughter, Mary Green, Nathaniel Green, a son, Captain Green, Malachi Green, Roxana Green.
None of those ring a bell.
What was that?
To Greens and one I think that might have been like we had an aunt, we used to have her name was Annie, and she would have New Year's dinner every year until she died. And anyway, that's the Green that I know, and I think she had a brother. They got killed by, he got shot or something. And he was a Green, and I can't remember his first name. And Gwen has left the room, so.
Well, the thing is, there are Greens like Sally Green McKenzie. So Dad's father had Green in his family, and then Willa Green.
That's them. That's them because Steen and Jessamine and all those used to go to that New Year's dinner.
Oh, okay.
And all of them, and our cousin Mildred, and that was James McKenzie, your uncle, Steve's brother, his daughter. We all went. That's one time we met all the time. But I know you probably know that Mildred died. She died in 1987. She was my age.
Mildred died. I think I knew Mildred died, but it's her daughter.
Yeah, Chastity.
Yes, Chastity.
She
I thought she had reached out to me one time, but I haven't been able to reach her recently, so I wasn't sure.
Is she here?
But
Is she in South Carolina?
yeah, she's in South Carolina.
Oh, she's
I
in
would
South
sure like to
Carolina.
know. I sure would like to know where she is.
She's in
Okay.
Columbia. Last time I talked to her.
She's in Columbia.
Yeah.
Okay, I know her husband. I used to hold him in my arms when he was a baby.
I
So
sure would like to get with her.
okay. Well, you know,
'Cause I work in
I-
Columbia. So
I
that's-
could find out how about her from her mother-in-law.
I would love if I can get her contact information. If I can get contact information on anybody who you know that's a part of the family, that'll just help me to grow this tree.
Okay.
All
Well,
right, so we got Josh, Clay, and Belle Young. That's Ada's parents, and then Nathaniel's parents was James Green and Sarah Green.
okay.
Sally Green, this is Dad's grandmother on his father's side. Her
Okay.
parents were David and Martha Green.
Okay.
So you probably know, yeah,
They probably had greens on both sides.
you had Greens on both sides.
Wow.
Mhm. And on that side of the family, you see all of these places are empty. So I have not been able to find any other relatives. So if you have any information about any names of parents or even siblings of anybody in this generation, that'd be helpful. But I
Okay.
do have information about, so this is Dad's father, right? Grover Lee McKenzie. Then we have Thomas McKenzie, who was Grover Lee's father.
Okay.
So the things I know about Thomas, you say he was born in 1868. And so I don't really know who his mother was, but I'm pretty sure his father.
Dr. Rose.
This is all his family.
Mm.
All right. Now, his father, we don't have a lot of information about him. He was born in 1868 and died in 1953. That was Thomas McKenzie.
Okay.
So I have information about Thomas's father, and I'm pretty sure it's Taylor McKenzie, but there's one other possibility. But it looks like it points to Taylor McKenzie as being Thomas's father.
Okay.
Taylor McKenzie is a white man, right? So the story that I have heard about Thomas was that he was a light-skinned Black man. That's one thing Dad used to say about him. He said that a couple of times. I don't know if anybody else heard that story.
I heard that story.
Okay. So we know that Taylor McKenzie, so this is when on Dad's side of the family, the paternal side of the family, we start to see some interracial stuff. Right.
Yeah, that's I heard. I did hear that. Mommy told me about that.
She did tell you about that?
Yeah, she did tell me about that.
Can't find any trace of who his mother was, but we know who his father was. His father was Daniel McKenzie. Daniel McKenzie was like he had not a small plantation, but he had I think he had 160 slaves. This was Daniel McKenzie, and this was in St. Matthews, his plantation was. But the interesting about Taylor was that Thomas McKenzie, right? That was Taylor was his father, right? Taylor was Daniel's son. But Thomas McKenzie, not only was he light-skinned, but Dad also said that Thomas used to spend time down where white men used to sit and talk about things that happened throughout the day. So he was welcome into that company.
So, which means that he was light enough to pass.
But he married a really, really dark-skinned woman. So that's what telling me he didn't pass. I don't think there was any intention of him trying to pass.
Oh, okay.
Because look at the so this is his wife. Maybe I didn't show you his picture. This is a picture, and Dad gave us this picture.
Wow.
That was his wife. The other thing Dad did say was that
I thought that
all
was
all
other.
his sons and daughters, his sons at this age, Thomas's sons, apparently he was a mean kind of man, and all his sons just started to disappear. They would just leave. They would be out on the field one day and then they would just go. And so that's why that branch of McKenzie's there in New York. We see a lot of them in New York. I think there's some in New Jersey. Right, and so that's Thomas's sons. And so we said that Taylor is Thomas's father, and then Daniel is Taylor's father. Daniel had a small sized plantation. He must have had some money. I know he was involved with the Freedmen's Bureau after the Civil War. And I think that's probably when he lost most of his money, because especially like the plantations that were in Fort Mott, South Carolina, they all, by the end of the Civil War, they were all like struggling. But Daniel McKenzie's father was John McKenzie. And so now this is going to take us back to Scotland.
Oh.
Okay. That's
Right.
it.
So
Okay. I figured that.
yeah. So these are
Either Ireland or Scotland.
Scotland. Here it is. Well, this I have him being baptized. I don't think that this is a good record for him, but his father was also born in Scotland. So I'm not sure if John McKenzie was born in South Carolina or if he was born in Scotland. But this was his father. His father died in South Carolina, Alexander McKenzie.
Mhm.
So the interesting thing about these people is that I think that this was a power couple, John McKenzie and Nancy Butler, because Nancy Ann Butler, who was John's wife and Daniel's mother, her family comes from England, and they were very well established in England. And then if you look at, because I've been reading some history, like around the Combahee River, where they had the river raids. And so you see these names often as being a major planter, having large plantations, like probably rice plantations. This is Hugh Butler and Charles R. Butler. And so I have not gone further than that, really, with any kind of serious study, because I don't really connect too much with the white side of the family, but we know that they're there.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the story about Dad's side, the paternal side of the McKenzies.
Renee, what did you find out about your DNA on the paternal side?
Okay. So when I did my DNA search, so this is primarily where I seem to be coming from. Nigeria is a large one, Benin and Togo, and then Mali. So we're in West Africa. A lot of this is West Africa, Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria. But then there's also Central Africa, the Western Bantu people, which also probably Bantu people are probably up there as well. And that's 17% from the Western Bantu people. And then just a little bit from Europe, Wales and Ireland and Denmark. And not much indigenous. If anybody else wants to have their DNA study, it would really help in terms of just helping us get more information. But I can understand people may not want to expose their DNA like that.
I don't,
You said no?
I don't have no problem with it.
Listen, if anybody wants to join in this research, because this is a lot.
Yeah,
And,
that's a lot, man. Oh.
And I'm just starting to to uncover it a little bit. All right,
That's great, actually.
if nothing else, I'm gonna move on to mom's side of the family, Sarah E.G. McKenzie's family side.
Okay.
So we didn't know who mom's father was. But her mother's Arcissa Gibbs. And Arcissa was about 14 years old when she got pregnant with Sarah. So there's no record of the father. But this is just some basic information. So mom's side of the family, they largely come from Delaware.
Mm.
Okay.
So when I was looking for, this is my grandmother, Arcissa, and Ty, you still there? So, and so
Of course, I'm still here.
So listen, Mama must have been a little bit of like a social butterfly because she showed up in the papers a whole lot about parties, going to parties. She was in charge of organizations. She was always a treasurer of things, of organizations she was a part of. We certainly know that that Mama was certainly a businesswoman, you know, because we know she ran that store for many years. Now, in terms of so Annie Mary Gibbs, that was Aunt Ann. She recently passed away. And then these are my mom's children. William Herbert Bowie, he died. He only lived for a year. And Viola Bowie, Gail Bowie. These are just some more news reports. And the death of her mother, Mom's mother, Sarah Benson, she died in Chester. And more newspaper reports. Can you see that okay?
Yes. Did I just see that
Yes.
Amy's 5-year birthday party was in the newspaper?
Yes. And they were listing names of the people who were in attendance.
Wow.
Yeah. A
I
lot
guess
of.
my grandmother really was a power broker.
She really was. She really was. So I have a couple draft cards here. Let me see whose draft cards we have. Oh, so this is my mom's first husband, William Henry Bowie. And they lived on Norris Street, 124 Norris Street. That's his signature in Chester, Pennsylvania. He was born in, go ahead.
Norris Street. Isn't that where mom and dad moved to when they moved back from Sharon Hill?
No, Lewis.
Lewis Street.
No, they didn't move. I think they started on Norris Street because my mom used to live on Norris Street. But I know the story about how mom and dad met. Do you know that? Apparently, dad was renting a house he was a boarder at some woman's house, and mom lived down the street. And so the woman dad was boarding from, she pointed mom out to dad and told her that was a good girl because she was young. And so she encouraged dad to start talking to mom. And so she had to encourage him a few times, apparently. Not because he wasn't interested, because he was shy. And so they finally got together, and then they eloped. They went to Delaware to get married. All right, so let's look over here. So we know that Mom's second husband was Sylvester Thompson.
You want to come down?
Just show you some pictures of. I have a few pictures. That's Mom and Pop. That's Mom and Vess. That's Mom all the way in the back there. And that's Uncle Ty. That's Tyrone's father. And that's Mom and Pop.
And that's them playing pinochle every Sunday.
Of course. Of course they playing pinochle.
Drinking beer.
We're not gonna tell all the stories now. All right, so this is Mom's mother, Sarah Benson. She was born in Delaware and she died in Chester. So Sarah Benson, her father was Andrew Benson, but her father died when she was relatively young. I think she was like a year or two, and then her mother remarried John Caldwell. That's not up here anyplace. And so you might remember Lorraine Caldwell, those people from Delaware. So Lorraine used to come up here. So we have a few connections in Delaware, but I can't find anybody now who were related to in Delaware. So this is Mumum's sister, Anna Mitchell, Mumum's brother, Holiday, and her brother, George. Nathaniel Gibbs, and then we get into like the interesting part of the storyline. We talking about the Gibbs in Delaware. So Nathaniel Gibbs was Mumum's father, and so he comes from a long line of Gibbs, and his long line of Gibbs take us back like to the 1700s. So we can trace that family line back to the 1700s. That family, we can only go to the 1800s if you except for like Daniel McKenzie, the enslaver. But all right, so here's Nathaniel Gibbs, and then his father was Jacob Gibbs. And then his mother was Amanda Shockley. So I'm just gonna go right to Amanda Shockley first, and then I'll explore the Gibbs a little bit better. So Amanda Shockley, her maiden name was Burris. So she was Amanda Burris. Amanda, and this was her mom, right? M. Burris Shockley. That's Amanda's mother. And this is Amanda's father, George Burris, right? And the only reason why I point this out is because there is a well-known abolitionist from this family line that side of the family we're connected to. And his name was Sam Burris. And I'm trying to find, oh, he was Amanda Shockley's brother. So Sam Burris has an interesting story too.
No.
Oh. But that's not him. Anyway, Sam Burris has an interesting story. So he was in Delaware and he was doing abolitionist work in Delaware. And he got caught. And so he was transporting people who were running away. He would transport them in a cart from Delaware, like to Philadelphia. And so he got caught transporting somebody to Philadelphia, a woman. And so he got caught, she got caught, he was arrested. He was a free man, right? So the Burrises that's from a free family, and Gibbs were freed a long time ago as well, back in the 1700s. The Gibbs family became free people. So once he got arrested, they put him on trial. And so this was their reason or their excuse for why now they wanted to send him back into slavery, because he was a nuisance, because he kept doing all kinds of things. He was a free man and had a little bit of money too. And so they put him on trial, but they didn't know the person. No, they didn't put him on trial. They put him on trial, then they put him on the slave block, right? To be sold back into slavery, sold into slavery. And then it was an abolitionist from Philadelphia came down and he purchased Sam Burris's freedom. Nobody knew that this man was an abolitionist, but he was. And so Sam Burris went to New York. He and his family went to Philadelphia, not to New York. But they kept going back and forth, freeing people in his cart. So they tried to get him again. And so they were really close. And so he decided that he had to go someplace where he could be free. And so he moved to California, he and his family. And so that's where he continued to do his abolitionist work in California. But he had some heart. And I can't find it. I can't even find his name, but he was in here someplace. All right, his name was Sam Burris, well-known abolitionist. Okay, so this is now we're gonna. Now I want to say a little bit more about the Gibbs family because this is an interesting family as well. All right, so Jacob Gibbs, that's Amanda Shockley's spouse, and we said Amanda was Sam Burris's sister. Jacob Gibbs was a free man as well. So if you look at this information,
beyond the gates, please welcome Daphne and Dubé and Carla Mosley.
so you see this here, it says Mary Ann Burris and then FP 1830. So that means she was a free person, right? And so that's how she was, and that's how they noted that out. I didn't know what FP stood for at first. And so I was pleasantly surprised to learn that was freed person. All right, so Absalom Gibbs.
Of CBS Studios.
So Jacob Gibbs' father was Abel Gibbs. Abel was probably the third Absalom Gibbs in this chain. I'm not exactly sure because these records are really confusing for me to sort out. So I'm going to go back to Abel's father was Absalom, and then his grandfather was Absalom Gibbs. So Absalom, born in 1735, he was manumitted by a Quaker in like 1740s or something like that.
What do you mean by manumitted?
He received his freedom.
Okay.
The Quaker set him free, and he gave him manumission papers. He also gave him, I think it was 100 acres and some clothing. And so he got him, set him up so that he could establish his life. So I have been able to see I have seen his manumission papers. Show where he was freed. I'm going to see if I can put my hands on it. The other thing we know about this Absalom Gibbs is that he owned a lot of property. Either he or his son ended up owning a lot of property. They were said to be, he was said to be either this Absalom or this one was said to be the richest Black person in Delaware at the time. And you can see all kinds of deeds of sale, especially for Absalom Gibbs here and Abel Gibbs. They owned and they bought and they just dealt with a lot of property and they had money.
They're 7 years old.
Did somebody say something? And I give you an idea what the land records look like. I mean, so some of this is like some deciphering. You see, there's his name, Absalom Gibbs, and you just have to be careful because the name spellings changed, especially on the census record, because you can just see that they were not giving Black people much attention when they were completing the census information. But Black people really don't start showing up in the census probably until about, I think it was 1840. That's when you usually see, that's when they started keeping record of Black folks. Unless, of course, you look at the slave records. And so you can look at a slave census, and then plantation owners, sometimes they would list the first names of their slaves, of their enslaved people. And so you can find out who they were. And then for the slave census during that time, when they were listed by their enslaver, they were on the same form census record as chattel and all the supplies and that type of thing. I mean, there was no human dignity in that situation. And then I don't have anything about, this is now we're on Abel Gibbs. I don't have anything really about his mother.
ACE's Yard RX program prescribes the best lung specific to your yard's needs.
It's mostly about when children were born. She does show up on some census records or something, because I see that in 1870 she was keeping house in Kent, Delaware.
Save 20% on everything you need all year. From hours
Do that.
so that it's guaranteed.
And that's all that I have, basically.
Very nice,
Okay,
Renee. Very
Renee.
nice.
Renee, I have a question.
Yep.
Yes, the picture of Grandpa's no, the picture of no, the picture of Willa Mae McKenzie.
Of who? Which one?
Of grandma.
Willa Mae, yeah, the picture of Grandma Willa Mae McKenzie. Can you show that picture? Because that picture looked like the same picture of the Daniel A. McKenzie's wife.
Okay. Let me go back. And so tell me again, because I'm not getting that first name, Dee Dee, who you said, whose picture we're looking at.
Willa Mae McKenzie, Grandma.
Willa Mae. And this looks like, who does she look like?
The first slave owner.
Yes, maybe like Daniel A. McKenzie. Because someone said that either Taylor or Daniel McKenzie was
The one that had a woman that he could pass for white, but he had a woman.
Oh, Sally, this one you're talking about?
Yeah, let me see that picture.
Let me see if I can.
Because the picture looked alike.
Let me go back. Oh, that does look alike, doesn't it?
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Dee Dee.
Yeah, it sure is. So that's not
I
his
thought the
grandmother.
same thing too, but I kept quiet because I said, "Hold up!" But I seen that picture early on.
You thought it too?
Yes, I did.
Well, y'all need to talk up. Listen,
Oh,
I am
we
not
wasn't
certain
disturb- we did
about
all that
any of this
research. We
stuff.
wasn't disturbing. That's why we
said,
came
that
back
like
to
grandma.
it.
I think, but you was in the middle of presenting what was, But I thought that looked like grandma when you were saying that the man that had the plantation but he would mix with white folks too, but he had a black woman.
Right.
I said, well, that looked like grandma though.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm still trying to see if I can get a better picture of her.
Definitely looks like.
But that does look like her, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wish I could have.
I'll see y'all another time. All right. Here we're going back up there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have something, Renee. Is it possible?
Okay, so is that the same person?
The stuff that you have, you can send it so we can see it.
Hold on. All right, Dee Dee, you're saying yes. That's the same person. So I'm going to take Sally. That's not Sally Green McKenzie. That's Willa Mae Green.
Yeah,
so I'll make that change. All right. So, I could try to share it. I could just like maybe take a snapshot.
Yeah, that's all. So I can see the chart.
Okay.
So we could, if you could do that, oh man, I would love that.
Renee,
and then I'm gonna be start getting on my detective thing and see what I can, kind of find out on this end too.
Okay. Go ahead. Somebody else calling
we
me.
could find a way to. We could see if we could find a way to take snapshots of this information and put it on the foundation's website, so people could go back and forth to it as much as they want or need to.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea because I would like to see pictures of my grandma and my mom and my dad as a little kid again too. Because you went through that real fast.
I'll show you your father. These are ones I put up for your father. I have more. I can put more up. I was just trying to get a representative sample. So you want to see your grandmother? You want to see Mary? Oh, Ann?
No, my mom.
Oh,
Ann's
mom.
my aunt. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Listen, my brain's not
No
working.
worries. No worries. You're doing a great job, though.
I'm looking for Mama. Okay.
Oh,
I found one picture of Aunt Annie, if people remember Aunt Annie.
mhm.
If also about these photos, like I want to make sure I have everybody's photos. That's why I went to this view. So like Gwen and Stephanie,
Yeah.
I want to get you up here too. Let me, because I think I don't have your name, so I could, I can, if I can get like your birth date and your name, and then I can just add you to the tree easily. I'm trying to find out where you would be.
Then we could also get their children and grandchildren and expand the tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because here's Agnes Green and photos. Like if you have any photos of your mom or your grandma,
Mhm.
anything that I can add.
Um, we might have a photo of my mother, not my grandmother. We never had a photo of her.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so let me look at, I don't think I have a picture of Princess and Dede. So where am I? Y'all are over here. All right, so can you see that okay?
Yes.
And then so I have Aunt Dede. Oh, I did have your picture. I don't have a picture of your brother.
Russell.
Oh, okay.
Who are you
Yes.
talking about,
And
man?
then for Aunt Sadie's children, oh man, I didn't do too much over here at all.
No.
All right, I need some photos on your side. I have photos, Robert. I have photos of y'all when y'all were young.
But we can't tell one
Yeah.
from the other. Just a bunch of bad black kids.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got some pictures of all of them.
All right, yeah, I think I have your brother. I have this one. That's Charles, right?
You still around there?
Yeah, let me see.
Can you see that right there?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
I love this picture of your mom now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Please, can I have that picture?
Oh man, I got some
I
nice one.
love that
Especially I got some
picture.
nice picture of Aunt Zeddy when she was young.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I
I
want
tell you
that
what,
picture.
I will share. I will copy the photos I have of your family, and I will share them with both of
Yes,
y'all.
please. I was just as you said that, I was thinking, dang, I love that picture of my mother.
Yeah, and look at this one. Oh, this is a great picture. I don't know if I have the whole picture in here. I think this is the one where she's playing a guitar or some kind of instrument. Let me see.
What?
Young girl.
That's Zeddy.
There she is. I don't know what she's playing.
Look, Zeddy.
Charger?
Oh, I remember that picture.
Do you?
Yes. Yeah, the wedding picture.
Yeah, I remember that picture. I remember that picture on the left too, D. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that on the left. I've never seen that before.
Yes.
So
What?
y'all had that in your picture book, Robert?
Yeah, I think I do.
I'm sending pictures for you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Very
Oh
nice.
man.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
nice. That's
Renee,
why.
can I say
Thank God for
something?
memories, boy. That's all I can say. Thank God for memories.
Renee,
Yes, indeed. All right.
Renee, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Jerry.
All right. I think that when I look at these pictures, I mean, that's a treasure of information that you've uncovered. And I always look at these things in context of time. You know, we go back to the 1700s, and it's good for me when I can look at these pictures of people that are maybe related to me, and then try to understand what was going on in the country at that time. So we know the 1770s, 1700s, pre-slavery, pre-Civil War. So now we can look back pre-Civil War and see what our family may have been involved in, or what was going on, or what they were going through. And then after the Civil War in 1863 and up through Reconstruction, we had family members in different places. And to relate these pictures and names to times means a whole lot. And that's going to continue for the rest of time. So we go up to the 1960s, you talk about civil rights. We all have a story to tell. It's one thing to look back at our relatives, but the thing is, we can all help each other right now if we start documenting what we know about our immediate families. Now, I'm just going to challenge everybody to tell us about your families, who's who, what their ages were, so that can be part of our database. And that's going to be an easy way for those who come after us. And it shouldn't be too hard to do these type of biographies by maybe using ChatGPT, but just find a way to document what you know about your family and share that with us. And maybe there's some way we can work with that.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Great idea, Joe.
Wow.
This was amazing. Thank you so much, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Hey,
Anything else?
Hey, Robert, I got a challenge for you. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
But I know some of us are going to be going down to the St. Matthews area for that reunion.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's any way, maybe you and I can talk about how we can pull the family together, our family, for maybe just for a couple hours, maybe a little get together.
Oh,
in Matthews,
nice.
okay?
That'd be awesome.
So maybe we can do something like that.
That would be wonderful.
Okay. All
If
right.
you want me to send you information about the family reunion that's going to be down in Fort Columbia and Fort Mott, just make sure I have just send me your email address.
Okay.
Just let me know.
And when is this?
It's like July the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, something like that.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
great job.
All right.
Grover, anything else?
Nothing for me. This has just been awesome.
Hey, I
Thank
appreciate the work you guys done. Excellent job. Thanks so much. Excellent job.
I will tell you, I have two. If anybody want an Ancestry.com membership, I could give you. I have two left that I could share. Just keep that in mind.
If you're interested, each of you received a text from me. You could text back to my phone number, and I'll get that to Renee, and so that you and she can be in direct communication. So if you don't, and then in the flyer is my phone number. And thanks, Dee Dee, I did correct my phone number in the flyer. But the flyer has my phone number and my email address.
Thank you so much, family. Oh
right.
man, I really enjoy it. It's very informative. I really enjoy just hearing all the information that you gather. Wow. Amazing.
All right. We're good?
We're good.
We'll see you all next time.
All right. Love you.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
Bye.
Stephanie,
Be well.
Hear you.
What did I say?
I said goodbye, everybody.
No, see?
Bye.